What my experience has been is it just doesn't happen. It's not like that. Now, I've had some very, very big sales and I've had big commissions, but the silver bullet isn't there. There's not one thing that I'm waiting for that, oh, that will solve all the problems. So in terms of, as an artist, an advice to artists is a lot of it is simply hard work. There's no doubt about it. I work way harder than when I ever worked for an employer. And that's it. You just plug away and it's incremental, and it's like the way that a painting itself builds up. It's a lot of work. You just have, even a quick painting, and all that experience goes into it. It's a lot of work. You have to practice, your art form, and you have to plug away, and you have to persevere, and you have to deal with a lot of frustration, and you have to deal with rejection and failure and things that don't work out, and just keep moving forward, just like a painting. So that's how it is.
Great. And how do most people find you today? Is it?
Fascinating. I am always bowled away. It's like the things I just mentioned to you that I've just done in the last few weeks, even the Toronto job at Nuit Blanche, the wedding, the Las Vegas job I'm going to in a few days. All three of those, they just Googled me. They just Googled something and found me. They found me on the web. They looked at my work, they saw some examples, and were intrigued and liked the quality of what they saw and contacted me. So a lot of people, I think, a lot of business is coming through the web. I have jeremysutton.com, my main website for me as an artist, and I have the Paintbox TV for teaching. But I think people just they must Google, live painting or things like that, and digital art. I'm not always sure, what they Google, but that's the main thing. And in terms of marketing, I try to be good, but I'm so busy, I don't really have time to be a big marketeer for myself. I mean, I know that one is meant to do a lot of things in social media. I try to tweet now and then and put a Facebook thing here and there and send an email out. But honestly, I'm so busy, I don't really have enough time. So a lot of it is just, coming through the web, and I guess some word of mouth. Cirque du Soleil, I worked with Totem when they were here, and that was through someone in this building who knew that I did some performance work and was asked by someone at the AT&T ballpark, do you know someone who does live painting? And they said, you should contact Jeremy Sutton. So word of mouth also helps a lot.
Great. Okay, so one of the last questions I'll ask, what if someone else who's, say, in a somewhat kind of similar position that you were in, is in a different career, they do art on the side, they want to pursue art, passion as a career, what advice would you give that person in today's world?
Well, it's funny because a lot of my students are exactly what you're describing. They're people, a lot of them who have other careers. Sometimes the careers are closely related, like they're professional photographers and they want to learn to do digital painting from their photos. But sometimes they're doctors, or they're retired, or all sorts of different professions. And they're following a passion they have for art and for painting, for creativity. Now, I always just encourage people to just go for it and take risk and to be bold, both in what they do, in their paintings as well as in life. So I think your question was more specifically about people who are thinking about a career change, as opposed to just have an established career and want to get their creative juices going in parallel. Is that right? Sure. So you're thinking about people who are pondering making the leap into taking a lot of risk. So it's interesting. I would say that it's a very individual thing, because it takes an enormous amount of willingness to tolerate uncertainty, to tolerate risk, to tolerate chaos, and which you need to do in a painting anyway. But to take a leap into stepping out and going for it, and I have friends who've done that. A musician friend of mine was working in finance for years, and he's an amazingly talented piano player. And he kept asking me, wondering, Jeremy, I really want to go for it as a musician, and if I'm a bit afraid, you know. And I always encourage him. I just kept encouraging him, and he did go for it, and he's a full-time musician now, and he's loving it, and he's doing great. So I'd say that it is not a blanket answer to that question, because it's a personality thing. And some people, maybe they don't have the personality for it. You really have to be prepared to step in and tolerate a lot of uncertainty and chaos. But if you're prepared to do that, then I would say, you know, get as much as you can. Get your eggs in your basket, sort out things as much as you can. Obviously, it makes sense to save and have some sort of a nest egg, to have some sort of a cushion, and plan this if you can. If you're in a job, if you're earning good money, you know, put some money aside so you create a cushion. And then just set yourself a time when you're going to go for it. The one thing I would say in terms of specific advice is that my impression is, and I know from my own experience, but my impression is that there is no perfect time, and there are always reasons not to do it. Period. So there's never a perfect time, and there's always reasons not to do it. So if you are looking for perfect time, and if you're worried about reasons not to do it, you'll never do it. So you have to accept, whenever you jump in to do this stuff, it's messy. You're not suddenly, you know, it's not smooth sailing, it's messy. But that's okay, messy is part of life. So as long as you're prepared to live with that, I'd say I encourage, you know, go for it.
Great, yeah. Jin, anything else?
We have a stream more
Oh, got a couple more?
Oh, and also I wanted to add one more thing about the heart. When I was thinking about the heart as a project, one of the things I wanted to share was that for me as an artist, it was amazing to go as much as I could to Union Square and just watch people reacting with the heart. And I've never seen anything like it. I mean, non-stop, day and night, people would respond to this artwork, and everybody would take their photos. There's no doubt it's the most photographed object I've ever painted, and it probably will be in my whole life, because I spoke to the people who run Union Square, and they said that in the 6 months that it was on the square, they expect, you know, like 7 million people or so go through that square during the time when it was there. And whenever I was there, people were always taking photographs. So it was just an incredible experience just to see how much art can be part of community, how much pleasure it can give. I mean, the kids running up and touching it, the adults, you know, the married couples. I mean, it was just like non-stop. And I'll just finish with one funny story. Was that because I had a webcam, my friend Luke Weinstein had a gallery right opposite. Actually, they still do, the Weinstein Gallery. So they very kindly let me put a webcam pointing at my heart. And so I had 24/7 coverage. So at one point, and it was a Wi-Fi webcam, so I could look at it from anywhere. Dropcam actually was the webcam I used. At one point, one morning, I looked at the webcam, because I would get up and look at the webcam. It was like, oh my heart. It was on its side. It'd fallen down. And it was like, oh my gosh, you know. I said, Peggy, the heart's fallen down. Oh my gosh. So we like rushed over there, you know, it was like the baby's fallen down. So we rushed over to Union Square, and sure enough, the heart was laying on its side. But amazingly enough, and I probably shouldn't say this on the record, the heart was fine. There was a tiny bit of scratch here and there. But it had taken a chip out of the stairs. So it was so solid, that fiberglass heart thing, I don't know how they did it, but it was so solid, it actually had taken a tiny chip out of the steps. But they lifted it back and, you know, took care. And I went and had a look back on my webcam, because I was really curious, how does this big heart fall over? And sure enough, middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning, I found it on the webcam. This guy, there's no one around, it's dark, and you see this guy walking up the steps, and I don't know if what he was on or whatever, he was sort of out of it, and he just goes up to the heart, and he just pushes it over, and then he carries on walking. It was the funniest thing. Anyway, I guess that's what they say. That's San Francisco, right? It takes everybody.
That's a great story. How long did it take you to complete the heart project?
I recall it was about 2 months. I kept asking for a bit more time. I really worked a lot on it, so the actual painting was about 2 months. It was right here where you're sitting, actually, and it literally took up this huge space, and I was circling around it, painting and doing stuff to it. So.
Very cool. How long does it take to do your average digital portrait?
Well, of course, that's how long is a piece of string. It varies, but when I'm doing live events and as an entertainment, special events, I end up taking 10, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, quick sketches on my iPad or something. But then when I take a bit more time, I prefer to spend a bit more time, sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm a very quick painter and I'm a very quick drawer, so in terms of live portrait, we're talking about live portrait, sort of that sort of time frame.
Okay.
Maybe up to about an hour. Now, I do a lot of work where I do work with also photo reference, and I do collages like the one you saw of Jamwal. Now, those can take months, or even longer. I mean, I've spent years on some projects, but basically, those complex collages, the San Francisco Heart, the actual original digital collage took, I worked on it for months. That doesn't mean I'm sitting down painting all the time for months. It means I work on it, I leave it, work on something else, come back to it, get stuck, leave it, come back to it. So